Welcome back to Bones and Brews, my friends. Look who got a new smoker. And today we're gonna go with the smoked pulled ham for that first cook. So let's get started. So friends, that is correct. Brand new smoker here in the backyard barbecue area. We got that Oklahoma Joe's Bronco Pro. Got it revving today. We're trying to get it up here in just a moment, very close to that 225 range that we're gonna want today for this smoked pulled ham. So this is something I've made a few times before. I even made a video for this actually about a year ago, but you never saw it because the audio never worked, so I never uploaded it to YouTube. So here we are trying again today. So we got ourselves about a little over 7 pound bone-in ham we're gonna use today. Doesn't take a lot of ingredients for this, by the way. We're gonna hit it with a little bit of Dijon mustard over the top so we can use that to then coat it with some seasonings before we get it on the smoker. So let me get myself some gloves. We want to get that ham ready and prepped here. We're gonna also be doing take our knife here in a moment. We're gonna score that ham at the same time, all right? Before we get that seasoning on there, so that seasoning kind of gets down inside. It also gives a great look when you get it off that smoker before you start pulling it for you and your friends, all right? So you guys can probably hear the birds chirping directly above me in the trees. School buses are going by. You probably, yeah, there we go. You can probably hear that school bus. All kinds of great noises here early this morning on a Friday morning. All right, so let's go ahead and get this ham cut open here. Now, if you've never made pulled ham, it is just like the way it sounds. It's just like you would make a pulled pork in the sense of where you're pulling that meat. But my gosh, friends, is it absolutely delicious. Great way to do like little slider sandwiches. Just a kind of a different take on that Easter ham that you might be making for you and the family. All right, get that little plastic piece out of there as well. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and flip that over. I'm gonna take my knife here. I'm really trying to cut down inside, scoring it on the diagonal here, about a little over a ½ inch deep. And then I'm gonna come back in just a moment and come in the other direction. So that's, and those lines are about maybe ½ to 4 inch apart as well. So you don't have to do a ton of cutting on there, just a little bit. All right, so then we're gonna take our Dijon mustard here. There's many different ways to do this, friends. I always used to use kind of a Dijon mustard as that binder for myself. Give it a good coating across the top here. All right, and then I'm gonna you can use your favorite seasonings on this, any type of barbecue rub that you wanna use. You can go sweet, you can go heat. I'm gonna do a little bit of both. So I'm gonna take my Meat Church, the Gospel here, and we're gonna give it a friendly coating. Oh yeah, my friends. Now, this next step I'm about to do, you could do this and then maybe add a little brown sugar on it if you wanted to get more a little sweet on top of that rub. But instead, I'm gonna go with Texas sugar from Meat Church as well. All right, so it gives a little bit of that sweet. We've got that heat underneath. Oh yeah, my friends. All right. All right, so there we go. Easy peasy getting down in there. So I'm gonna take it, what I've done is I got myself an aluminum pan, a little rack down the bottom of it as well. I'm gonna take my ham, set it right there. Go ahead and take off these gloves. I don't need them anymore now. And then we're gonna get it on the new Oklahoma Joe Bronco Pro here. Looking to get it at, it's almost at that 225, so we'll set it on that smoker here in just a moment. And then really at that point, it's probably gonna take about 6 hours or so. Looking to get that internal temp at around 165. Once we get that internal temp at 165, we're gonna pull it off. We're gonna get it with a little bit of glaze, apricot glaze. We're gonna cover it with foil, put it back in there, and then continue to bring that internal temp back up near 200 degrees so we can pull that ham nice and easily. All right, friends? So come with me, we'll get it on the smoker. All right, friends, we are definitely rolling some smoke here. Now I've got some applewood chunks on that smoker today with that charcoal. All right, so we're gonna get this on, close that lid, and let it roll. All right, so now that ham has been on the smoker for a little bit, we are going to go ahead and make our apricot barbecue glaze that we're going to use on this today as well. So starting with some apricot preserves. I'm just using this little pan because you could make this in a pot on the oven and then bring it to a boil, do a little faster, but I'm actually going to put in what will be probably about a cup of these preserves in this little pan, and then we'll add the barbecue sauce. And I'm just going to place it on my smoker and let it warm on the smoker, and then we'll kind of mix it as it warms so it gets to kind of that consistency we're looking for to use it for that glaze. All right, so we got those apricot preserves in there, and I'm going to use the old Blues Hogs Championship blend in here as well. All right, that's probably about a third of a cup of that in there as well. So I'm going to try to mix it just a little bit here. And then just to keep consistency with the rub that we used earlier as well. Since we got a lot of sweet in there, I'm going to take some of that gospel seasoning and add a little bit more to that glaze. And I'm going to go ahead and take this and place it on the smoker and let it start to warm. Hey, you know what? Let's check on that ham. Oh yeah, look, we got that glaze warming as well. Okay, ham is off. We've hit that magic temp of 165. I've now opened up the vents a little bit here as well so I can crank up the heat a little bit on that Bronco Pro. So what we're going to do now is we are going to take that glaze that I warmed. I'm going to begin to pour some of that glaze right on top, and it's going to fall down into those cracks because you can see where I kind of sliced that ham. Oh yeah, my friends. All right, so we'll save just a little bit of that glaze. We'll take some of it and kind of brush it around here as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to get ourselves a big old piece of aluminum foil, and we're going to cover this and get it back in that smoker. Looking to get that internal temp at about 205 degrees. All right, so we're going to cover this up now. I don't know if you can see this, I got my meat stick in there. That's what I'm using to kind of monitor that internal temp as well while it's on that smoker today. All right, friends, so we got that kind of sealed up for ourselves. Back on the smoker we go until it hits that temperature of 205. Well, the ham is officially off of the smoker. We are at that internal tip of 250 degrees. I'm gonna bring that foil off of there. See a little bit of that steam start to rise. We're gonna go ahead and pull that meat stick thermometer pin out as well. We don't need that anymore. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to go ahead and use myself a clean pan here before I take this in the house, since this is kind of grungy and smoky and everything else from that whole process. But I'm going to take that ham and go ahead and move it over if it doesn't already want to fall apart on me. There we go. And we'll see that bone. See if we can pull that bone right on out. There we go, my friends. Don't need that anymore. All right, so kind of double gloved up here. Got those insulated gloves underneath these black gloves here, so we can go ahead and see if we can just start to pull that meat. Oh yeah, look at that, my friends. Now I've got my little bear claws here. You could use those if you don't want to use your hands, or if you don't have those gloves to help protect yourself as well. All right, so we'll continue to pull this apart, and then we're going to give it a taste test. So we got it all shredded, friends, and we're going to take a little bit of that juice that's there from that glaze that kind of dripped down the bottom of that pan, pour it across the top here, keep things nice and moist. And you know what, let's go right on in and give ourselves a taste test here. This is going to be great. It's just, you know, serve it just like it is. Grab yourself some of those little Hawaiian slider rolls for Easter. Oh, man. Absolutely money. I could sit here and just snack on this all day. This is absolutely delicious. I love doing ham this way. My kids love it this way. Family loves it this way. Great to serve. I'm gonna go grab myself some of those Hawaiian slider rolls, start making some sandwiches. You'll find everything you need to know about this recipe in the description of this episode. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you like what we're doing. We'll see you guys again on Bones and Brews.